Hi everyone. Okay, your genitals in combat. Everyone loves a juicy cockfight. I tried to find the quote from Plunkett and McLean, one of my favourite films, but I couldn't find it on the net. Right, recently Krista Jacobson put up a video about the basic stance that the bougie can use and brought up some good points, and points I'd never really considered. And I thought I'd just reiterate them here and see what you guys think. And it's about what do you do with your genitals in a fight. And unfortunately, ladies, this is worse for men. They say females going through birth is the worst pain in the world. Well, you do it more than once. Men do not want to get kicked in the nuts multiple times. It is an agony. Right, so Krista's point was that in most sports martial arts where kicks to the groin, strikes to the groin are forbidden, people square on, or almost square on, slightly angled, but on the whole using what's called the strong box. Something I was unaware of, as a concept, or well, as a name anyway. And the idea is that you come on strong and you go in and you do, whatever style it is. But the closer you get to self-defense and real fighting, and where there are no rules about striking, you turn more side on because you protect your internals and your genitalia. And you've all been in fights, I assume, and yet you don't stand there with your nuts out waiting to get kicked in it. And you protect your sort of eyes, your throat and your nose. And that's the way you would come into fight. Some people stand back, some people go in close, some people obviously push in close, but no matter what you do, people hold. Obviously apart from sort of like haymaking drunk fights where that's where one person just gets sparked out, but most people who go in there fighting with tactics will cover this part. But Krista pointed out that in many martial arts, which have weapons, long distance weapons such as swords, many of the stances actually have the genitals open because the sword is a defensive element. So you can't kick someone in the nuts when you're at sword's length. It just can't be done. And it's very difficult to spin quite a long blade around, up and under, all the way around, get past the floor without catching the floor and up to the nuts. So you find that in a lot of sort of traditional stances in martial arts, you will get a forward stance with a weapon. So you get this idea that when there's rules stop you from doing dirty fighting, you find that people will just expose their internals because people can't, as much as we'd like to reach in and grab hearts, that, they have to try and sort of chip away at the corners and get in. When it comes to real fighting, people tend to close off and don't let people into this area for obvious reasons. And third is, when it comes to sword fighting, people tend to come up in a middle stance. That doesn't mean that there's only the middle stance in fighting. We know that there's lots of side stances. We get that in hidden stances like that. But on the whole, they tend to hold their sword backwards maybe, or down, and there's specific ways. And you could then go into the argument of it's the dynamics of moving out of that posture, not holding or keeping your internal organs at bay. But again, that leads off to a different debate which we can have. However, what we do know is that there's definitely middle stances, especially with Japanese swordsmanship, even Koryu, where, you could say, modern Kendo has that, but Koryu doesn't. Oh no, Koryu definitely has that. Miyamoto Musashi's Book of Five Rings is pretty much use the middle stance, face on, that's there. So guys, what do you think about this? The idea that there's open stances showing your genitalia because you trust the other person is not going to hit it, which of course is a sport. There's closed stances because you're very worried about the opponent hitting it, because that's exactly what they're going to do. And then there's a third type where you come back to the original one and defend because you have something in the way to defend from, and the likelihood of being kicked in the nuts is really, really low when you've got a massive big pointed blade at one end. So what do you think, guys? Let me know. If you're interested in following me and following what I do, get yourself a book of Bushido, which will be at the end of this video, and help me keep going with my research. Enjoy, everyone, and I hope you're having a good time around this Christmas period.